Hey kids, it's Mr. Fly here, hope you're well, and welcome back to another Bike News, this time for the month of June 2025. Okay folks, welcome back to the channel. Can you believe June has already gone, and what a cracking month it has been, at least here in the UK anyway. We've had some cracking weather, and in fact it's been a little bit too hot, hasn't it? In fact, I'm recording this on Tuesday to go out on Wednesday morning, and today is going to be one of the hottest days of the year. Once again, it's absolutely cooking in here. Anyway, I digress. I've got 5 papers to go through, loads of stories, so grab yourself a brew. This could go on a bit. Right, first story then for this month's Bike News. KTM's New Dawn. This has been that ongoing story, hasn't it, about the news of KTM having financial woes. Well, it seems like they've been saved, at least for the time being anyway. So it says here, KTM's New Dawn, India's Bajaj Auto takes controlling share via 600 million lifeline. KTM have been pulled back from the brink thanks to a 600 million investment from manufacturing partner Bajaj Auto, adding to the 200 million sum previously received from the Indian firm. The cash injection, which landed just days ahead of an immovable May 23rd deadline, enables the Austrian manufacturer to fulfil legal obligations and pay the agreed 30% debt quota to creditors. The next step in KTM's recovery will be depositing the 600 million with the administrator. Once that's complete, the Austrian courts are expected to rubber stamp the restructuring in early June. I don't think I've seen any follow-up. There might be some more later in Bike News. Even with creditors now appeased, Piera Mobility posted troubling operating losses of 1.28 billion as the 2024 financial year came to a close, with revenue down nearly 30%. Then there's still delayed model launches, including 1390 Super Duke GT, 990 RCR, and multiple Super Adventure variants, which were shown late last year but are yet to arrive in dealers. So, good news that KTM have been given at least a stay of execution, but by the sounds of it, there's still some work to do for them. So we're not quite in the clear yet, but great news to see that they've not gone under quite yet. So interested in your comments below, what you think is going to happen long term with KTM. Would you actually buy a KTM at the moment? I know a few people that have actually, so it'll be interesting to see where that goes, but still there's a lot of money involved in this game, isn't it? It'd be a real shame if they did go under. But anyway, for the time being, KTM's sticking around, which is good news. Right, next up, high tech for Harley-Davidson. Who would have thought it? Mirroring magic, it says here. Harley-Davidson ditch chrome for a space-age panel finishing. Now, Harleys love a bit of chrome, don't they? Well, they've come up with some new technology to do the chrome differently. It says here, Harley-Davidson have lifted the lid on the 5th model in their growing Icons collection, using the launch to showcase a super shiny surface finish said to outlast traditional techniques while delivering a mirror-like shine. The new limited edition features a polished metal look created using physical vapor deposition, or PVD, a vacuum-based process that ditches old-school painting or chroming in favour of a thin metallic coating. Compared to chrome plating, PVD is more resistant to corrosion and wear. Chrome finishes, as most riders know, can flake, pit or fade over time, especially under harsh conditions, where PVD bonds directly to the surface, offering a more consistent layer. Well, this is pretty amazing, isn't it, for Harley-Davidson to be in the forefront of this sort of thing. I don't mean that in a sarcastic way. I do apologise. It came over a bit sarcastically. It says here it's non-toxic, while traditional electroplating involves toxic chemical baths. PVT does not, giving it a greener edge overall. Certainly looks good, and for me, one of the appeals of Harley-Davidson is all the chrome work, so great that they've got that sorted for something a bit more hard-wearing. Yeah, interesting. I always love a bit of technology, and that's just something a little bit different, I thought. All right, next up, big and bold. Now, this is a timely test because I've been riding a scooter recently. You may have seen in the month I put up a review of the Yamaha TMAX Techmax, a review that's doing remarkably well, actually. The last time I looked, I think it had over 40,000 views, which for one of my videos is pretty good. Anyway, it says here, big and bold, maxi scooters may seem expensive, but they have more than one string to their bow. And I have to say, I've always been a fan of scooters. Of course, they are very much a niche item, and that's something we seem to embrace in this country, I guess, because of climate, because of things like, well, our culture. We've always had a bit of a thing against scooters. And then there's always that thing, isn't there, about us, quotes, real motorcyclists think that scooters aren't proper bikes. But trust me, if you ride these latest generation, you might change your mind. I was well impressed with that T-Max that I rode. It was a great bit of kit. Anyway, let's see what MCN have to say in their verdict, because they are pitting here. In fact, it's the Yamaha TMAX Techmax, I think the very one that I had, against the Honda X-ADV, which I haven't ridden the latest version of, but I am getting. It's in the diary. And Honda Forza 750, which I think I've also got in the diary, actually. So what are they saying between those lot? This is John Urry. He's saying, Better, but too costly. And this is the biggest comment I had on the TMAX review, actually, was that it's so expensive. It comes in at like 14 grand, which is a lot of money for any motorcycle, isn't it? Let alone a scooter. And people rightly pointed out that was a lot of money. Anyway, see what John says. It's easy to dismiss maxi scooters, but if you give one a chance, they can actually be quite eye-opening. It won't appeal to everyone, but the X-ADV is an oddly entertaining bike that is also big on practicality. If you're after a traditional maxi scooter, it's hard to justify the T-Max's extra cost over the Forza. Interesting. The Yamaha is classier, tech-heavy and more refined product, but the Honda does everything the T-Max does and is 4 grand less. So yeah, that makes it a tempting proposition, doesn't it? So yeah, very much looking forward to riding the Honda Forza. I don't know if I've ever ridden one of those, actually. Incidentally, they give each bike here 4 stars, so it's a pretty close run thing. But yeah, if you're tempted to try a scooter, I dare you to have a go on one of these modern ones and say you don't like them. That Techmax, it looks a bit like a chinchilla or something, but it rides like almost like a sports bike. It's incredible. It really did quite shock me. All right, moving on. Next paper. Only 2 stories in this one. First one is staying connected. CFMoto's T-Box connectivity system steps up the game. Now, I often moan about connectivity on bikes. It never seems to work, but it seems like CFMoto have come up with something different. So let's have a little read here. CFMoto have upped the ante when it comes to connectivity-based bike tech with the launch of their T-Box module. At the heart of the system is the T-Box itself, which is integrated in the bike's electronics and offers constant connectivity via built-in 4G, meaning there's no need for a Bluetooth or smartphone link. Ah, excellent. Among the standout features are real-time remote diagnostics. The app can relay alerts and fault codes to the owner. Rather than just displaying a warning light, this offers a detailed analysis of the problem. Quite interesting, I like this. The technology also supports over-the-air updates, including changes to the fuel map, ride modes, and dash software. The system includes a number of inbuilt enhanced security touches. Riders can activate a geofencing feature, essentially setting a virtual perimeter around their bike's park location. Vibration sensor detects unexpected tampering or movements, so it's also a bit of a security thing, this. T-Box also enables a digital key function. Once a smartphone is paired, users can ditch the key entirely and start the bike using the app. I love the sound of this. At the time of writing, the T-Box is only fitted as standard the 800 MT Explore in the UK. But what's the betting it'll come to other bikes? I quite like the sound of that, I must admit. Sometimes you think technology goes over the top, but if it's something that actually links to your phone and then gives extra functionality, then I think it might be a go. And certainly I've not heard of anything else like this on any other manufacturers. So it's just showing here CFMoto, one of the leading Chinese manufacturers, I think it's fair to say, kind of leading the way on this one. So yeah, interested in your thoughts on that as ever. Stick your comments below. All right. Future of sports. The road-focused sports bike market is changing. Meet the Ducati Panigale V2S and the Yamaha R9. Now, these are 2 bikes that I have ridden, actually. The Panigale quite recently, and the Yamaha R9 probably about 3 or 4 months ago now. Love both bikes, but for me, spoiler alert, I think the Panigale is absolutely fantastic, and for me, it knocks spots off the R9. But then again, it is a bit more, well, quite a bit more expensive. The Panigale is 17 grand. The Yamaha 12 2. So yeah, a lot of difference in price. And also, the Yamaha looks good in pictures. This is one of these odd bikes. But I think when you see it in the flesh, it doesn't look quite so good. Whereas the Panigale looks good in pictures and it looks good in the flesh. Of course, the Panigale, very sort of divisive this time around with the new V2. It's about 30 brake horsepower down on the outgoing V2. But it loses nothing. The mapping on the bike is amazing. It sounds brilliant. It's just, I think it's probably my favourite bike I've ridden on the road this year. It's an absolute corker. And the R9 I did like as well, but I have to say the Panigale I preferred. Let's see what the verdict is from the MCN guys. And this is again John Urry. He says, R9 really delivers. The Panigale V2S simply doesn't do enough to justify the £5,472 it will cost you like for like over the R9. Interesting. This is basically the opposite to what I thought. That said, if you want a Ducati sports bike, the stock Panigale V2 at 15 grand is almost close enough in price, especially on PCP, to make it justifiable. But if sporty riding is your thing, the Yamaha is your best bet. While the Ducati's engine has a lovely relaxed feel and its riding position is far more comfortable than the Yamaha's, it doesn't really scratch that traditional sports bike itch anything like the way the R9 does. Well, I couldn't disagree more with John on that. Needless to say, John's probably a better rider than I am, but that said, I found the Panigale was much easier to ride, much more fun on the road, and it definitely scratched the sports bike itch for me. John or MCN have given the Yamaha 5 out of 5 and the Panigale 4 out of 5. Interesting, isn't it? Just shows we're all different. These are just people's opinions at the end of the day. You have to form your own opinion, don't you? But for me, Panigale, so much better than the R9. But then, as John says, a lot more expensive. Looks so much. It's a Ducati. It's fantastic. Anyway, all right, that's it for the second paper. Buell come back to Britain. Now, this is Buell. They come and go, don't they, quite often, but it looks like they're coming back. Charismatic US brand return after 15-year absence. Buell motorcycles are officially back in the UK with big plans for an expanded dealer and service network, plus promises for further models arriving on our shores in future. Rainbow Moto, based in Ashburton, down in Devon, I know it well, my in-laws used to live there, will now serve as the official UK importer of the brand, having taken delivery of the first shipment of Hammerhead Superbikes and 1190 SX Super Nakeds at the end of May. Funny place to have your prime dealer, I must admit, as much as I do love Ashburton, it's a bit out of the way. So if you want a Buell, unless you happen to live in Devon, it's going to be quite hard to go down and get your bike sorted. Anyway, both bikes retain classic Buell traits of old, including fuel in the frame and a large single front disc running around the outer edge of the rim. I always find that most amusing, but I imagine it must have, physically, you'd think the leverage would be better, wouldn't you, with that massive disc running around the outer edge of the wheel. But given other manufacturers haven't done it, maybe it's not the case. I don't know. Anyway, Rainbow will be covering sales in Devon and Cornwall. We've got the task of setting up a dealer network for sales and for servicing in the UK. This is the guy that runs Rainbow, somebody called Johnson. That's his surname. I do apologise, Mr. Johnson, for not picking up your first name. We want to be fairly selective because we don't want dealership on top of dealership. For the moment, we've got John Tremlett Motorcycles over the road in Ashburton. Visit rainbowmoto.co.uk for more information on purchasing. So, yeah, lovely looking bikes, bit quirky, very special, and you'd be unusual if you had one. You wouldn't be seeing them down at the bike meets very often. But yeah, if you're in the Ashburton area, go and check them out. Right, CCM's future uncertain. This is another sad story for a niche British motorcycling brand. British brand enter administration following period of sales difficulty. CCM have been placed into administration, sparking uncertainty for the future of the Bolton brand. Following the administration announcement, MCN approached a spokesperson for CCM and they replied, "This is a challenging time for everyone involved. Our dedicated team, our loyal riders and the wider CCM community that has supported us over the years." CCM didn't appear at last November's Motorcycle Live show in Birmingham with a new Project X adventure bike concept taking deposits. Oh, they did appear, sorry, and they took deposits from customers. These aspirations were later shelved for the foreseeable future, with deposits returned to prospective customers. What a shame. It's always a shame to see, well, any company fold, isn't it? Particularly if it's a British one. CCM, very much a niche product. I have ridden a CCM in the dim and distant past. In fact, I borrowed Henry Cole's one. Go and check that video out if you've not seen it. It was quirky, to say the least, and it didn't inspire me to buy one. So, in a way, I'm kind of not surprised it's gone that route. They weren't hideously expensive. That was a good thing about CCMs. At the time, they're about $9,000. And given it's a boutique brand, that was competitive. But for me, they had I think it was an engine out of an old Husky off-road type bike. It was very vibraty. There are odd things about the electronics and stuff, which meant I wouldn't have gone for one myself, but they were very lightweight and they looked amazing. But yeah, it looks like they might be disappearing from the scene. What a shame. Let me know if you've ridden a CCM and what you thought of it, or indeed if you're an owner and what your experience has been of CCMs. Maybe I'm being very unkind and we need to get out there and all buy a CCM. Anyway, what's this next story? Low-fat rally twin. Kove to unleash slimmed-down 800X in 2 weeks' time. Now, this is another of these Chinese manufacturers bringing out off-road bikes. Not only did Kove have brought out this, but also Voge, I get the two confused all the time, released one at this week's ABR Festival, of which more later. Sorry, this weekend just gone festival, I should say. Anyway, the Kove 800X Rally will be revealed at the annual Adventure Bike Rider Festival from June the 27th to 29th. That's the one that's just gone, along with official UK pricing. The new bike builds on the existing 800X, stripping away any unnecessary bulk while incorporating a host of fresh chassis parts to turn its off-road nature up to 11. Suspension has been beefed up, most noticeably front fork, where the forks have grown in all dimensions. New forks come fully adjustable out of the box, as does a separate reservoir rear shock. The Rally reportedly tips the scales at 179 kilograms ready to ride. That's down roughly 20 kilograms on every other machine in the class. That's pretty impressive, isn't it? And it's got a sort of a Dakar-esque look about it, which I must say is kind of growing on me. These bikes seem to be really popular. I don't know, they've got a bit of Yamaha Tenere about them, haven't they? And this Kove does look very similar to the Voge, and oddly, the Voge is very similarly has a very similar title. I think that's the 800X Rally as well, or something, or 800. Anyway, I did a review on that. I'll put a link in the corner for that one if you've not seen it. But these bikes are great, and I think the Chinese are here to stay. Those bikes are getting better and better all the time, and they're value for money prices. And yeah, they look good. Anyway, must have a go on a Kove at some point. I've never actually ridden one. Right, next up, Continental Shapeshifter. Now, this is the all-new BMW R1300RT, which I'm in sort of two minds about this bike. When I first saw the pictures when it was released, I thought, oh, I quite like that. They've made the RT very modern looking, and indeed it is. But it's got these little flip-up wings on the front, which I can't help thinking might be a bit of a gimmick. And they had one of these on the BMW stand at the ABR Festival last weekend. And I did have a good look at it, and I can't quite decide whether I like it or not in the flesh. So the jury's out on this one for me. I'm looking forward to riding one. I think I've already got it in the diary, actually, from BMW to have a go. So I've got a 2-week loan lined up, so I cannot wait to have a go on it, because the RT has always been one of my favourite bikes. And with the 1300 engine, which is an absolute corker, I'm sure it'll be a great bike to ride. So yeah, really looking forward to this one. Anyway, let's see what BMW make of it, because they have in fact ridden it. Just like BMW's latest generation R1300 GS, the RT's transformation from 1250 to 1300 is more than just a wash and brush up. It's new from the ground up. Powered by the same 1300cc shift cam boxer engine that makes 143 brake horsepower. It's housed in the same sheet metal shell chassis with a telelever front end and a power lever shaft drive. Sleeker bodywork and LEDs are new. The riding position is slightly sportier, and every electronic gadget and rider aid has been refined. That's the bit that slightly worries me. The riding position slightly sportier. On bikes like this, I don't need sporty riding positions. I need something that's going to be comfortable on long stints. Having said that, looking at the rider on this picture, it doesn't look particularly sporty, does it? Maybe there's a little bit of sportiness. I don't know. Anyway, I'll have a go on one and let you know. Prices start at a not insubstantial £18,900. And for that, you get a modest level of standard equipment. So like all BMWs, you're probably going to want the TE version that gives you a modicum of some of the stuff you want. By the time you've got it all painted up and stuff, you're going to be looking at the low 20s, aren't you, for one of these? So an expensive motorcycle. But then I guess they've always been expensive. But I think I like it. This is probably the bike I'm most looking forward to riding of the new batch this year. So, yeah, what do you make of these new looks anyway? Do you think it's good? I think I've done a reasonable job of hiding the radar on this one, unlike the standard BMW R1300 GS, which I think the radar spoils the look of the front. On this one, it's a little more inconspicuous, I think, the way they've blended it in. Anyway, interested in your thoughts on that as ever. Let's read the verdict from Nevesy. What has he got to say about the RT? He says, performance is more urgent and handling is crisper, but it's lost none of its composure. In fact, it's improved thanks to its quieter screen and a riding position that manages to be sporty without sacrificing comfort. This I like the sound of. A host of new goodies, from its pillion heating system and improved adaptive lights to its semi-active suspension, has an extra gloss of luxury, although there are extras on top of the already expensive base price. And in fact, the one that they rode here was $24,825, the RT LE ASA. So that's the one with the auto gearbox and all the bits and pieces that you're going to want. Interesting. And when it talks about the pillion there, I forgot to mention it's actually got heated hand grips for the pillion, which I think is a great idea on a touring bike. And I know something that Mrs. Fly would like. So if and when I do, well, I am borrowing one of these, I must see if I can get one with a top box so that Mrs. Fly can have a go on the back. Because for me, these bikes are all about two-up touring. Be fascinating to have a go on it. Really looking forward to that one. All right, last story in this paper. The same but different. Not all middleweight adventure bikes are born equal, so they're pitting here the Yamaha Tenere against the Voge DS900X. Also, I think the Voge is probably called the DS800X, the one I rode at the weekend. And the Honda XL750 Transalp. So Yamaha is most expensive at 10.5, the Voge 8.5, the Honda in the middle at 9.8. And they all look kind of similar. Again, they're all sort of Dakar-esque. They're all kind of similar size, from around about 700 to 900cc. So all middleweight, off-roady focused bikes. Let's see what the verdict is on this one. And again, this is from Nevesy. He says, superb Honda just got better. Honda's Transalp continues to win our hearts. Its suspension upgrades sharpened the handling significantly and add confidence to what was already a superb middleweight adventure all-rounder. It's more road-focused than the Yamaha and more sprightly than the Voge. It's our pick of the bunch for pure road riding. For those with genuine off-road aspirations, Tenere 700 continues to impress. And I must admit, again, at ABR over the weekend, I had a close look at Tenere 700s. I actually had a look at Tim Roder's. Very nice, Tim. Thank you for letting me see your bike. Because I hadn't been up close to one, I don't think, not in its current incarnation. And I have to say, it's a very impressive looking bike. Must have a little chat to Yamaha about getting one of these, I think, at some point. Unfortunately, I'm still not doing any off-road riding. Not sure if I've mentioned before, I've got a dicky shoulder, so it kind of stops me going off-road. If I do any jarring movements, it's extremely painful. Anyway, if I were, it would be the Tenere I think I'd like to have a go on. The Transalp also looks great. I can't remember if I've ridden that or not. But yeah, maybe, hopefully, in a year or two, if my arm gets better, I can actually get into doing a bit of off-roading again. It'd be lovely to give those a go. All right, that's it for the third paper. 2 more to go, and then we'll get on to Parish Notices. Stick with me. Only 2 stories in this one, so I'll whiz through. First off, Split Personality. BMW's new front-end tech mimics changing spring rate as you ride. Now, this is very clever indeed, this. Listen to this. BMW have become the first manufacturer to offer electronically adjustable spring rates on a production upside-down fork with a new dynamic suspension adjustment system debuting as an option on the 2025 R1300R Roadster. In short, the system gives the feel of a stiffer or softer fork based on which riding mode is selected. The new technology should mean that whether you're riding solo or 2-up and fully loaded, the bike can be adapted to suit without needing to break out the tools and swap springs. So this is going to be fascinating to have a go of, because we've already got active or semi-active suspension, have we, which basically changes the preload on your bike depending on how much load you've got on the bike. But this actually has the effect of changing the springs. Now, I'm not sure I'm a good enough rider to notice the difference, but we shall see. So I'm interested to give this a go. But it is, yet again, more technology, isn't it? And it does make you think, is this something that could go wrong? And of course, yeah, it could go wrong. And how expensive is it going to be to fix? So long term, it'll be interesting to see how reliable this is. Is this one of those things we weren't asking for and we could do without? We're actually okay with suspension as it is? Or is it worth going for this for a nicer ride and then putting up with the potential extra cost if it goes wrong? Interested in your views below. Right, now this, whilst we're talking BMW, this here, proper boxer, dirty tricks. This was getting a lot of love on the BMW stand at ABR over the weekend. This is the new BMW R12 G/S, which is the sort of retro GS, if you like. I have to say, this looks in the pictures and in the flesh a very, very nice bike indeed. As I say, it was getting a lot of love over the weekend. It says here, the R12 GS couldn't be more different from the lower, more road-focused R12, despite being essentially the same bike. It's chunkier, more imposing, and off-road focused than the previous R80 GS Rep 2, which was based on the R9T Urban GS. Do you remember that? Oh, that's what it was called. Quite like that as well, actually. This one, I think, is a bit more seriously off-roady. It has the sparse, minimalist feel of a dirt bike, but it's a blast from the past engine, floods the R12 GS with the kind of character that's rare in a world dumbed down by regulations. It's got 3 riding modes, comfort package featuring heated grips and cruise control, adaptive headlight, tyre pressure control. The list goes on. Goodies added to the Sand GS, and the one you see in the pictures here, and it makes the price $18,020. So again, soon adds up, doesn't it? And it becomes an expensive bike, but it does look nice, doesn't it? And just because it's a retro, it sounds like you're not going to be skimping on some technology either. Really like the look of that, and yeah, I think I've got that one in the diary. If I've not, I need to get it in the diary. It says here, Nevezy says it's perfect for taller riders, and it carries its weight well. Well, I'm a bit of a shorter rider, so that could be a problem. If it was every inch of the dirt bike, albeit one with refined suspension, butter smooth throttle, and excellent road grip. Very nice indeed. I like the look of that. And yeah, I see Bruce Teapot1 has been riding one. He's done a review. Go and check that out if you want an initial look at this. But later on the year, hopefully, I'll be having a go on one. And yeah, getting me mitts on it. Nice looking thing. I do like it in the sand. Probably worth spending the extra to get that, isn't it? But yeah, 18 grand for a retro. Getting pricey, this biking game, isn't it? Right. Final few stories until we get on to Parish Notices. Adventures in Voge. Voge will unveil their new DS800X. There we go. That's answered the mystery. Rally, the DS800X Rally, the 2025 Adventure Bike Rider Festival, offering a more off-road ready sibling to the DS650 and DS900X. It's £7,199, puts out a 95.5 brake horsepower. It's got adjustable suspension, tubeless spoke rims, weighs 214 kilograms, and as standard, it comes with a steering damper, heated grips and heated seat, bash plates, has adjustable mirrors that you can fold away, all that sort of thing, switchable traction control, TFT dash cam, tyre pressure monitoring, USB A and C port. Basically, the list goes on. And as I say, I did ride this at ABR and I did bang up a review on Monday, just a sort of a tongue-in-cheek first ride review that I did with Luke Brackenbury over at ABR. Thoroughly enjoyed riding it, I have to say. I didn't expect to like it as much as I did, but it rode really, really nicely. We only did an on-road ride again because of, I don't know if I mentioned my shoulder, so we couldn't go off-road. I think Richie Vida rode it off-road, so if he hasn't put a video up already, I imagine there'll be an off-road video from Rich coming soon if off-roading is your bag. But yeah, really like the Voge. Nice bike. Oh, and £7,000. What an absolute bargain. Okay, next story. Semi-auto Panigales, whatever next? Spy Ducati design aim to make superbikes accelerate even faster. The automation of the gear shift is one of the hottest technological battlegrounds at the moment. It is. Everybody's coming up with theirs, aren't they? A set of new patent applications show that Ducati are working on their own variation. 2 variations of the idea have appeared in Ducati patent documents and reveal a setup that's closest, in spirit at least, to the E-clutch that Honda offers on the CB650R. Now, I rode the E-clutch on the Honda, and I've ridden with other versions, for example, the one on the Yamaha and so on. And I have to say, of all the systems I've used, the E-clutch on the Honda is my favourite, and I think would work well on a sports bike because you still maintain a clutch lever and a gear lever. You can use them if you want in the traditional way, or you don't have to. And it's also like the best quick shifter you've ever used. So I think if Ducati are going to do it, they've gone the right way rather than deleting the clutch lever and deleting the gear lever. I love the way that this gives you the option if it operates in the same way as the Honda one does. And it sounds like it does. Anyway, it says here, unlike semi-auto transmissions being offered by the likes of BMW, Yamaha and KTM, both the E-clutch and Ducati's upcoming system only aim to automate the operation of the clutch, retaining a conventional mechanical connection between the rider's left foot and the shift drum. And I think that is definitely the best way to do it on these sorts of bikes that are fun. Different if you're on a touring bike, where I think DCT is the way to go, like I had on my Goldwing. But yeah, for the likes of the Panigale, this could be a goer. So that's going to be interesting to see how that works. Again, let me know your thoughts below. A change of heart. Do you remember the Fantic Caballero? I haven't ridden one of these for ages. It's about time I did again. Now, this is the Caballero 500 we're talking about. It's out with the Chinese engine and in with Fantic's own motor for the Caballero 500. Is it still a charmer? The 500 is switching from Chinese power to a new engine built by Motori Minarelli, the manufacturing company Fantic acquired from Yamaha in 2020. Oh, was it that long ago? Seems moments ago since I was reading that out. It sounds like they're Italian too, doesn't it? So everything goes back Italian. That's good. The range has also expanded with a new rally version with a 21-inch front, the standard model having a 19-inch. It says here it's got a claimed 43 brake horsepower, 31 foot-pound of torque, Euro 5 Plus, and it sounds fantastic. So it's got all the right bits. There's a beautiful thumping note transmitted back up through the airbox that makes it feel wonderfully old school in its attitude. The Caballero does look nice. I love retro bikes, and I particularly like scramblers as well, generally speaking. And this one's always been nice and light, so it'll be nice to give this one a try. I don't see many around on the road, though, do you? But they always get pretty good reviews, so I'm not sure why that is. But anyway, let's see what John Urry says. Huge fun on short rides. Oh, okay. The Caballero Rally has instant charm as well as a feel of real craftsmanship and considered engineering often lacking in some smaller volume bikes. That's good to hear. Its fairly small motor means that it isn't the most practical of bikes, but it looks great, sounds awesome, and is huge fun to ride for shorter blasts on or off road. Not only that, but at $7,199, it's good value for money considering its spec and componentry. Another $7,000 bike that's desirable. It's great, isn't it, that manufacturers do seem to be listening. And you know, if you don't want to shell out $20,000 plus on a bike, and let's face it, not many people can do that, can they? Then, you know, for under $10,000, you can get some really nice bikes. Now, if you want to go new, of course, the second-hand market is also fantastic and well worth exploring because that's where the real savings are. All right, final story before we're on to Parish Notices. The Naked Truth. Top spec middleweight fun seekers prove you don't really need a super naked. Now, these bikes are all bikes that I absolutely love, and I've ridden them all. So this is the Triumph Street Triple 765 RS, Yamaha MT-09 SP, and the Ducati Streetfighter V2S. Now, before we look at the verdict, I'll tell you what I think of these. The Streetfighter is the most expensive by some margin, about $5,000 more than the others. But it surprised me. I thought I was going to absolutely love it because that V2 engine is amazing and it sounds great. But for some reason in that Street Fighter, it didn't do it for me. And that's why I ended up buying the V4 Street Fighter that I did. I just prefer it, even though it's nuts on the road. It's too powerful, let's face it. It just, for me, it's a nicer ride. It's a bit serious. And these other bikes, you could argue, are more fun. So the Street Fighter V2S for me, I would put last. Then it's tough between the Yamaha MT-09 and the Street Triple. Now, I owned a Street Triple I must have had it for about 8 years in a previous incarnation. I absolutely love that bike, and I can easily see one being in my future. I saw a red one of these like this, again, up at ABR. It's parked next to a tent, and I thought it looked absolutely incredible. They've got beautiful fit and finish on them. I love the yellow one too, like Really Good Dave's got. That's fantastic. But the red one also does appeal. I love the looks of those. I know it's a fantastic bike to ride and it sounds awesome. And my heart sort of says Street Triple. But I have to say, having ridden the MT-09 quite a bit, that also is a fantastic bike. And I think out of the three, it's possibly the most fun to ride. It just feels a bit naughty. It just feels a bit light. I don't know if it is actually lighter. Let's have a look. It's 194 kilograms, whereas the Street Triple was 188. So in fact, it's not lighter, but it just feels agile and flickable and fun. I just don't like the looks of it as much as the Street Triple. So tricky one. I mean, if you just went on looks, then it's probably the Streetfighter, isn't it? Then the Street Triple, then the Yamaha. But I think overall, it's a very difficult decision. Sometimes I think I'll go Street Triple. Sometimes I'll go MT-09. Just can't quite get on with the front end looks of the MT-09. Let's see what the verdict is anyway. Right, who's this writing? It's John Harry again. He's been busy, John, this month, hasn't he? It says here, all about having fun. High-spec middleweights nakeds deliver not only great value, but also real-world performance, cutting-edge tech, eye-catching bling, and sporty handling that devours B-roads with glee. The Streetfighter V2S is not that much fun to ride due to its demanding nature. A little harsh, but I sort of agree. Where the Triumph Street Triple RS instantly feels reassuring and the Yamaha MT-09 SP guarantees grins. Out of these two, the pick is down to preference. The Triumph is more refined, but lacking a touch in tech. Not so worried about that. The Yamaha is naughty feeling, that's exactly my thoughts, and a touch brash. Both are fabulous machines to ride, and under 12,000 are also incredible value. Yeah, if you're being sensible and you want the most fun you can have on a bike on the road, then these are really the ones to go for, aren't they? I absolutely love these two machines. If I was buying another bike for the road, it would be between these two and the Ducati Monster. And I suspect that the next new bike I buy will be one of those three. We shall see. All lovely bikes, and you wouldn't regret having any of those. They're absolutely brilliant machines. All right, that's it for the paper review. Let's get on to some Parish Notices. Alrighty, first up, I've got to say thank you to everybody I met and saw and who came to see me at the Adventure Bike Rider Festival over the weekend. What an amazing festival it was. Again, I've been going, I think, 5 years on the trot now. And before we went, we said, oh, maybe we'll call this our last one for a while. But I tell you what, I had so much fun. I'm definitely going again next year. It's brilliant. I'm scratching my head about what I could do differently there. But this year I did a Q&A with Simon and Lisa Thomas, which is always good fun, but I've done that a lot now. So I'm wondering whether I should do something else. I did the pub quiz with Richie. That's always great fun. Unfortunately, the sort of start of that clashed with Norley Itchy Boots doing her thing. So thank you very much for filling the tent that we had. I thought we were going to struggle for audience, but actually we had a packed house. It was great fun. I really enjoyed doing that. It's a simple thing, but it's a good laugh. And thanks to the guys that bought us beers, by the way. Guinness has magically turned up the stage, which made it get better as it went on, as we got slightly more inebriated, but really enjoyed that. Also did the charity auction for Two Wheels for Life, an amazing charity that takes motorcycles to Africa. And incredibly, I had a lot, which was basically a ride out to a lunch at a biker cafe. Would you believe some very kind gentleman, oh, my light's just run out of battery, paid £1,400, I think it went to do that. So it's absolutely incredible. So thank you, Andy. Cannot wait to do that. And we'll be in touch soon to organise a date and stuff. So, yeah, so great fun had. Also, the weather was fantastic. Everybody was very happy, as they always are at ABR. The music was brilliant. Okay, there were some bits and pieces about the festival that could be improved, but there's a lot of people there. And overall, it was just a fantastic event. So congratulations to all the organisers at ABR. You pulled one out the bag again, and I cannot wait already for next year. So thank you for that. All right, coming up on the channel anyway, on the 5th of July, the next video, that's a day trip that me and Mrs. Fly have. First one we had together, Mrs. Fly's pillion on our new GS. We actually went to Dumfries and Galloway. Long way to go for a day, I know. We had a fantastic ride. It's a bit of Scotland I've never been to before. We stayed in an absolutely cracking Airbnb in a castle, as we'll show you on the video. And anyway, that's coming up on the next video. On the 9th of July, my first ride on the Ducati Multistrada V2. Now, I've already ridden the V4 Multi, which I absolutely loved. In fact, I declared it my favourite new adventure bike that you can buy today, and I stand by that. It's a beautiful bike. Is the Multistrada V2 a better option, though? Slightly cheaper, but maybe it's a better bike for a ride, a bit less serious. But anyway, wait for my review on the 9th for that. After that, I pit the Panigale V2 against my old 899. Quite a few Ducati reviews coming up here. So is the new V2 better than my 899? My 899 had 155 brake horsepower. The new V2's got something like 120. So, and also I prefer the looks of my 899. Without going into all the details, that video's coming up too. On the 19th of July, which is a Saturday, we're starting a brand new tour series. It's a 4-parter, and it's based on something called the Crieff Cloverleaf. Again, this is in Scotland. Me and Mrs. Fly went up there, and you ride out each day doing a different loop, north, south, east and west, from Crieff, which is a nice little town of itself. Yeah, you do about a 200-mile-a-day tour, and we had a fantastic time with our old mates that we did the Alaska tour with. Do you remember those guys? So they're on that tour. So that was brilliant. That starts on the 19th of July and will run for 4 consecutive Saturdays. So if you like our tour videos, hopefully you'll like that one. I've also got a video coming on the new Speed Twin. That got delivered here yesterday. As a long-term Speed Twin owner myself, I'm fascinated to see if they've spoiled the new Speed Twin or not. All I've done so far is roll it out of the delivery van and put it in the garage, and sounds nice, I'll say that, but I'm not sure about the rest of it. But that video's coming up, and then probably, I'm hoping, I'll get a garage talk in as well before the next bike news, because I've had quite a few changes to the GS and other bikes, and I'd like to talk to you a bit about those. So that's coming up as well. All right, there we go. So a busy month coming. Hopefully some of that's of interest, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon. Until then, this has been the Mr. and Fly. Cheerio. Oh, sorry, I forgot to say. Mrs. Flyer said, on Bike News, can you specifically say thank you to all the ladies at ABR that went to see Carol, to say thank you for her appearing on videos and for her inspiring them to take up biking, which is fantastic. It's always great when somebody says you've inspired them to do something. It always blows my mind, and I had lots of people say similar things to me. Actually, a lot of people said I'd made them buy a particular bike, which is slightly worrying. But anyway, so thank you to all the ladies that came and spoke to Carol, and thank you to everybody, in fact, that came up and saw Carol individually when I wasn't with her and had selfies and all that sort of thing. So fantastic fun. So look forward to meeting you again at ABR next year. All right, that's it. Speak to you again soon.